Hi, I'm Rob with Hayneedle, and this is a short video on the assembly of the cast iron Loveseat bench. The estimated time on this assembly is around 20 minutes, and the tools you will need are an Allen wrench, which is provided, a 14mm wrench, which is not provided, a 10mm wrench, which is not provided, and a Phillips head screwdriver, which is also not provided. We'll start by opening our box and removing its contents, then locate our instructions. Inside we'll find a parts and hardware list. Take a brief inventory to make sure you have all the pieces needed for this assembly. Our first step is to take 8 of our bolts labeled as E and screw into the back of our seat labeled as B. You'll take your studs, insert one into each of the 8 holes on the corners of our seat. Once you have some in place, you can take your Allen wrench and fully tighten them. Be sure not to over tighten to avoid stripping them out. Using 2 of our flat washers labeled as L, 2 of our lock washers labeled as N, and 2 of our hex bolts labeled as H, we'll now attach one of our legs labeled as B. Insert the studs into the holes of B. Then we'll add first our flat washer, then our lock washers, then we'll hand tighten on our hex bolts. You'll repeat this step for your 3 remaining legs. Now that all 4 of your legs are on, take a 14mm wrench and fully tighten all of your nuts. Using 3 of our bolts labeled as F, 3 of our nuts labeled as I, and 3 of our washers labeled as M, we'll now attach our back labeled as C. Line up the holes with the holes on the seat, then insert your bolts and from the bottom, add first your washer, then your hex nut, and using a Phillips head screwdriver and a 12mm wrench, we're now going to tighten into place. Now we'll attach our armrest labeled as DL. To do so, line up the holes in the back hole with the holes in the seat and back. Using the same hardware as in our last step, we're going to again insert our bolts into each hole, and then again add our flat washer, then hex nut. Using your screwdriver and your wrench to fully tighten. You'll repeat this step on the opposite side with your second arm. Now that all our pieces are installed, we have our finished cast aluminum Loveseat bench.